What's happening, guys? Thanks for joining me once again for another one of my videos, the evolution of Hexproof. Here I am playing solo ranked in Halo Wars 2 using the Shipmaster. Tonight's opponent is using UNSC Kinsano, I believe, and they give me a pretty good fight.
Local units.
I went around as much as I could and snapped up as many minis as I could. I guess I avoid going to my opponent's half, trying to avoid early confrontation, but he brought it to me in the form of Marines and snipers. He dropped several LPs on me early on. Veteran Hellbringer units. He also utilized exploding units, as you can see here. Units that explode upon death. The snipers were a constant thorn in my side early on in the game. He was not afraid to harass my bases. His hero came down at one time. I dropped a pretty good beam. Was able to almost take her out, but my ghosts were able to finish the job. I suppose these little acts of harassment on my opponent's part are sound strategy. Here he is trying to interrupt me as I try to capture this node. I noticed later on that I was not able to cap that node for some reason. Maybe I brought back the unit that was capping it too soon before it was done capping. Here I finally took care of one of these snipers that the opponent had posted up in the garrison in my half of the base. My opponent kept bringing out their hero unit, Kinsano, and her mech. Here I kind of just stood in front of her Y ability. I probably should have gotten out the way, but I guess I allowed my opponent to have the pleasure of it. Here they are, harassing my base yet again, and I dropped an LP. This beam was totally ineffective because these warthogs, flame hogs, completely easily outran it. But they came back to continue harassing me, and I was able to dispatch them. Then the air spam began. Half a dozen hornets continually taking the mini next to my main. I kept retaking it. Then they had about a dozen hornets attack my main, and I drop a beam on them. But their maneuverability, I took a few out and weakened the rest, but I didn't feel good about the result. They came back to finish the job, so I used extraction to bring my units back to my main, and I was able to pick off a few more before they retreated back to their half of the base. More flame hogs and more veteran Hellbringers, LPs. Just a minor annoyance to me in this match. The opponent took my mini again. I took it back yet again. Their hero returned, but I was able to take her out pretty quickly with my counter ball. One stray hornet came and was quickly handled by my units. Here they are taking back the beanie at the middle of the map, but I recycle it before it gets destroyed, recouping some of the funds. If you're wondering what it looks like to cap an uncapped node with a full army, this is what it looks like. Here they are using hornets to destroy the beanie that I had at the back middle of the map. I'm now in my opponent's half, the top corner of the map. That expo was completely untouched for some reason. About 20 minutes into the game, my opponent only had 2 bases apparently. So I took ownership of it. He continued to harass me with hornets, but at this point I had a pretty decent counter ball. So no sweat. He appears to have some scorpion tanks in the mix. Little known fact, the shell that the scorpion tanks shoot can be shot down by the shroud on the banished side of things. So a very useful ability to have. If there's just one tank harassing your army and you have a shroud, the tank will do pretty much no damage to your units because the shroud will intercept the shell that the tank shoots. If you look closely, you can see it shoot it out of the sky with some little projectile. My counterball is continuing to hold strong. My opponent's continuously sending waves of tanks after me at this point. I could have maybe managed this battle a little better. My shield comes up just in time on my expo here in the top corner. I should have just kept my units under the bubble so they can be protected and allow my hunters to pick off the scorpions from a distance. I start pumping out Wraiths at this point. My opponent's just dropping LP after LP, it looks like. He's taking this mini next to this expo in the corner and he's using it to pump out units. Here he goes with his hero's Y ability, but I was able to get out of the way of it in time. And I was able to get my units back to my base, to my expo, just before my hunter was taken out. He survived in the end. I take back the mini next to this expo in the corner. I noticed that my opponent has a sizable army at my main, so I do extraction, get my army right back there at my main, and I kind of easily handle the threat, drop a beam. I was able to take care of all of the enemy units, pretty much save my main base. A couple buildings destroyed, the rest of them at half power. My main structure intact though. So I take my units back to the top corner of the map, encounter a little bit of resistance on the way, just a few flame hogs. I take back the mini in the middle. Once I have a full army, I'm at full strength. I make my final push. This was a very satisfying one.
All units.
My shrouds shoot the siege turret projectiles right out of the sky. My locusts melt all their little buildings in no time. The base falls in a matter of seconds.
On the move. All units.
One more base to go, and I noticed that the opponent has about 8 or 10 vultures at my base. I managed to displace them into the middle of nowhere for a little bit. Buy myself some time while I destroy his last base. I'm in a very good position here. I own all the bases except for his second to last one that I just destroyed. I try to drop a beam on his vultures, but it doesn't do very much. I don't think I took out even one. He gets out of there because of the turrets, presumably. At this point, I'm about done melting his final base. I purchase his second to last base, and then I send all my units back to my main with extraction. My opponent takes out my second base with Phoenix missiles, and he moves on to my third base. But at this point, his Phoenix missiles are on cooldown, and I would catch up to him before he was able to get them off again. I repurchased the base that he just destroyed. It's pretty much over for him. Thanks guys for tuning in. Keep a lookout for my next video.